Welcome to Zoe Stories. Why was my girlfriend microdosing me with estrogen behind my back? I used to think I knew who I was. 31 years old. Software engineer. Quiet. Average. I lived in a cozy, two-bedroom apartment in the heart of the city with Emma, my girlfriend of 2 years, the kind of woman who turned heads without trying. Confident. Charismatic. Always composed. Even in chaos. Emma was everything I wasn't. I worked remotely, tucked into the same corner of our home office each day. While she floated through her high-powered marketing job like a force of nature, I hid behind 2 monitors, debugging code and pretending I didn't notice how dull I looked in every reflection. Emma and I were solid. At least I thought we were. She brought light and color into my world, even if I never truly felt like I belonged in hers. She once joked that I was the quiet trophy boyfriend, the soft guy with a smart head and a nervous smile. But sometimes I wondered if I was a bit too soft. For the last 6 months, strange things had been happening to me. Subtle, but noticeable. I'd been feeling different in my own body. My skin softer. My chest sensitive. My face rounder, almost more feminine. Even my emotions, once neatly boxed away, were slipping out. I'd cry during commercials. I got sentimental over songs I used to skip. And worst of all, I didn't hate it. In fact, late at night, when Emma was asleep, I'd stand in front of the mirror and trace my new curves, subtle, but there. I'd feel something I couldn't explain. Something terrifying, exciting, awakening. It wasn't until I discovered the empty blister packs in the back of the bathroom drawer that everything began to make sense. Valessa Bloom. That was the name on the label. I Googled it. Low-dose estrogen tablets. Prescribed for gender-affirming care. Or to feminize a body over time. I stared at the screen for hours, numb. I didn't take estrogen. Not willingly. And then, a horrible realization hit me like ice water. Emma had been slipping it to me. How could I have missed it? I thought back to all the little moments, how she started giving me only her protein shakes in the morning. The special vitamins she insisted I take from her cute pink pill organizer. The times she mixed my drink for me when we were winding down for Netflix. And how, when I once joked that I was feeling emotional lately, she smiled but didn't look surprised. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I began to watch her more closely. Quietly. I even skipped the shake one morning and pretended I'd already had it. That evening, she asked me 3 separate times how I was feeling. She ran her fingers across my cheek and said, "Your skin is glowing lately." The way she said it, it wasn't casual. I had so many questions. Why would she do this? What did she want me to become? And why didn't I hate it more than I did? There's something I haven't told anyone. Not even Emma. When I was 16, I used to sneak into my sister's closet when no one was home. I didn't understand it then, just that something about the silk, the lace, the bright colors, made me feel real. Whole. Like I wasn't pretending anymore. But I buried that part of myself deep. I told myself it was a phase. I got good at pretending. Now, years later, as I stood in front of the mirror in just a towel, chest subtly puffier, skin smooth, I wondered, was Emma bringing that buried part of me back to the surface? And did I want her to stop? The next morning, while she was out for her early Pilates class, I opened her top dresser drawer. Beneath her lingerie, I found a makeup bag. Inside it wasn't makeup, but small, carefully labeled vials. Estrogen drops. Microdoses. Capsules. A logbook. She'd been tracking my reactions. My changes. Notes like, Day 43. He cried during up. Progressing faster. Day 67. He touched his chest in the mirror. I think he's noticing. Day 89. His hips look softer. Voice still unchanged. Continue at current dose. I felt like I'd been punched. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't casual. Emma was transforming me. Carefully. Deliberately. And somehow lovingly. I didn't know whether to scream or break down. But before I could do either, I noticed something else tucked beneath the logbook. A photo. Of me. Wearing one of her dresses. It was from a week ago. I thought I was alone. I'd put on her red wrap dress, just to see how it felt against my skin. I had no idea she was home. Or watching. Scrawled on the back of the photo, in her handwriting, was a single line. Soon, she'll realize who she really is. I dropped the photo and stumbled back. My heart was pounding so loudly it drowned out every thought. Who was she?
Me?
And what was Emma planning? I looked back at the mirror. At the person staring back at me.
Softer.
Smaller. Prettier? For the first time in years, I didn't see a man looking back. And I didn't feel like one either.
I didn't sleep much that night.
Emma came home from her Pilates class in a chipper mood, kissing me on the cheek and asking if I'd rested well. I nodded, trying not to let her see the panic behind my eyes. The photo, the logbook, the estrogen vials, they were all seared into my memory like a brand. And yet, I said nothing. Maybe because I didn't know what to say. Or maybe because deep down I didn't want it to stop. The next morning, she left early again. I stood in the bedroom doorway staring at the full-length mirror. For a while, I didn't move. I just watched myself breathe. I had never thought of myself as feminine. Soft, sure. Introverted. Gentle. But not pretty. And yet, now, something about the way my t-shirt hung differently around my chest, or how my waist curved ever so slightly inward, made me want to explore further. I walked to her closet slowly, like I was crossing a line I had already crossed 100 times in my mind. Her clothes hung like secrets waiting to be told. Silks, knits, pastels. A palette of confidence and grace. I reached for a pale lavender wrap dress, simple but elegant. The kind she wore when she wanted to look nice without trying. I held it up to my chest and felt a strange rush, nervous, embarrassed, but also alive. 10 minutes later, I stood in front of the mirror again, wearing it. The soft fabric clung to my new curves in all the right places. The V neckline showed just enough of the budding shape of my chest to make me flush. I didn't look ridiculous. I looked right. I caught my breath as I slowly turned from side to side. My arms still looked like mine.
My jaw too.
But my silhouette, my posture, had shifted. I pulled my hair back, then let it fall. What would I look like with makeup? With a wig? I remembered Emma's Halloween costume bin in the guest closet. She had a honey blonde wig in there from last year, a beachy, wavy cut that almost matched her real hair. I found it buried under a feather boa and a fake police hat. Slipping the wig on was a struggle at first, but once I adjusted the cap and brushed it out, I gasped. The person in the mirror looked possible, like a version of me that had been waiting for permission to exist. I sat down at her vanity. My hands shook as I opened her makeup drawer. Lip gloss, foundation, mascara. She always made it look effortless. It wasn't. I poked myself in the eye with the wand 3 times before giving up on eyeliner. But the lipstick, I managed that. A soft pink.
Glossy. I didn't want to go too far.
I just wanted to see her, whoever she was. And then I heard the front door handle jiggle. My blood ran cold. It was only 9:30. Emma was supposed to be out until noon. I panicked. In a blur, I leapt up, tripped on the wig cap, and nearly smudged lipstick all over my borrowed dress. I grabbed a hoodie off the bed and threw it on, yanked off the wig and stuffed it under the pillow. The heels? Still on the floor. I kicked them under the dresser. The door opened. Emma's voice echoed down the hall. "Hey babe, forgot my wallet, be right out." I stood frozen in the bedroom, heart hammering so loud I swore she could hear it. My lips were still glossy. My cheeks flushed. My chest pushing through the wrap dress under the hoodie. "Everything okay?" she called. I swallowed. "Why, yeah. Just getting ready to shower." A pause. Then, "Okay. Love you." The door slammed. I collapsed onto the bed, every inch of my body on fire with fear, and something else. Exhilaration. After she left, I sat up and looked at myself again in the mirror. Even half undone, wigless, hoodie tossed over a lavender dress, lipstick slightly smeared, I didn't look like a man playing dress-up. I looked like a person discovering themselves. The rest of the day, I couldn't focus. Not on work. Not on anything. I kept glancing at the time. replaying the moment Emma walked in. Had she heard anything? Seen anything? Was this part of her plan? Because now that I'd worn the dress again, really worn it, I knew one thing for sure.
She wanted this.
She was guiding me here. The hormones. The slow changes. The wardrobe mistakes. Leaving things out. Casually suggesting I try on her moisturizer, her robe, her deodorant. And now I'd taken the bait. But I wasn't scared anymore. I was hungry. Hungry to know how far she wanted to take this. Or maybe how far I did. That night, as we lay in bed, Emma curled into my side and whispered, "You're so soft lately. I love it." I didn't answer. I was too afraid of what I'd say. Because the truth was I loved it too. The next morning, Emma didn't leave for her usual Pilates class. Instead, she padded into the kitchen wearing her favorite oversized sweater, humming a song I didn't recognize. She was cheerful, almost suspiciously so. She made me a smoothie like always, handed it over with a kiss on the cheek, then sat across from me at the table watching. I took a sip.
Hesitated.
Was this another dose? Her eyes twinkled. "You're glowing more every day. It's like you've been using my skincare routine behind my back," she teased. I gave a weak laugh. Maybe I should. She smiled wider, like she knew something I didn't. No, like she knew exactly what I was hiding. Later that day, I couldn't concentrate. I kept looking toward the guest closet. The wig, the makeup, the heels. They were all waiting, calling. I told myself yesterday was a one-time thing, an impulsive act born from shock. But deep down, I already knew that was a lie. It hadn't felt impulsive. It had felt inevitable. So when Emma left for a quick coffee date with Alyssa, I gave in. This time, I didn't hesitate. I chose a form-fitting pencil skirt and a cream blouse. It took me 3 tries to tuck everything smoothly to make the silhouette feel right. My fingers trembled as I applied concealer. Lipstick came easier this time. I added mascara, too, blinking rapidly until my lashes framed my wide eyes just right. I pulled the blonde wig on again, brushed it slowly, and then stepped back. The girl in the mirror wasn't just an idea anymore. She was real. She had a presence. A name floated in my mind, unspoken, not yet claimed. But she was me. And then the doorbell rang. My blood iced over. Not again. I yanked the closet door open and stumbled inside, shutting it gently behind me. The clothes brushed against my arms. My breath came in sharp, short gasps. I heard the door open. Emma's voice.
"Oh.
Hey, Mrs. Bell. Package for us." The landlady. Her timing was perfect. Emma chatted for a few moments. I held my breath, praying no one noticed the extra heels under the bed or the open lipstick tube on the vanity. Then I heard the door close. Footsteps padded toward the bedroom. I couldn't move. The closet door opened, just a crack. Emma's voice was low and sweet. "You forgot to lock the vanity drawer." My stomach dropped. She knew. I peeked out. She was standing there, one hand on her hip, the other holding the lipstick I'd used. Her expression wasn't angry. It was bemused. "I didn't realize you'd go for the soft pink," she said, turning the tube between her fingers. "It suits you." I stepped out slowly, unable to meet her eyes. "Emma, She silenced me with a finger to my lips.
"Shuh."
"I'm not mad. I just wish you hadn't done it in secret. You don't need to hide this from me." I froze. You knew?" She smiled gently. "I've always known. I just didn't want to push. I thought if I helped ease you into it, maybe you'd stop being afraid." I felt like I was floating. Or drowning. Or both. "You gave me estrogen," I whispered. Emma nodded. No apology. Just calm certainty. Because I saw her inside you. And I wanted her to have a chance to breathe. I sank onto the edge of the bed, burying my face in my hands. My wig shifted slightly. She adjusted it with a light touch. "You looked beautiful just now," she said. "Not because of the clothes. Because you finally let go." We didn't speak much for the rest of the evening. Emma made dinner. I changed back into my regular clothes. We watched a movie. She held my hand the entire time, stroking the back of it with her thumb. Like she was waiting. like she knew this wasn't over. She was right, because once you open that door, even a crack, it never really closes again. Later that night, I stood in front of the mirror in the bathroom. Clean face. No makeup. No wig. Just me. And yet, I couldn't stop seeing her. The girl I had dressed as today wasn't just pretend. She felt real. Like she was aching to be named, to be seen again. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel disgusted or confused. I felt relief. And fear. Because Emma wasn't backing off.
She was guiding me.
The hormones. The notes. The lipstick. The closet door left open. This wasn't manipulation. This was a plan. A transformation. As I turned off the light and slid into bed, Emma whispered in the dark, "You're becoming someone amazing. Just let her come through." I didn't reply, but my heart beat faster. Because maybe I already had. It began with a single sentence. "Let me do your makeup properly." Just once. Emma said it over coffee the next morning, like she was asking me to try a new latte flavor. Casual.
Soft.
But behind her smile was something focused, almost electric. She wasn't joking. I blinked. "You mean now?" She nodded, already rising from her chair. "I've been dying to. Please." There was no pressure in her voice. No force. Just the calm invitation of someone who already knew the answer. And maybe I did too. I followed her into the bedroom, like a guest in my own life. She pulled open the vanity drawers and began laying things out. Brushes, palettes, lipsticks, a compact mirror with little lights built into the rim. She was giddy, like a stylist prepping a client for a red carpet.
"Sit," she said.
And trust me. She began with primer, smoothing it onto my skin in small, circular motions. Her fingers were warm, gentle. She hummed quietly to herself while she worked. "You've got amazing cheekbones," she said. "A little contour, and they'll pop like magic." My heart was pounding the entire time. Every brushstroke felt like another layer of armor being removed, until there was nothing between me and the mirror except raw truth. She worked quickly with practiced hands. Foundation, concealer, a touch of blush. "Close your eyes," she whispered, then added soft eyeshadow in a warm nude tone. "Do you trust me?" I nodded. Her breath brushed my cheek as she leaned in to do my eyeliner. I didn't move. Mascara next. Then a careful sweep of bronzer. Finally, lipstick. This time not a gloss, but a rich, matte shade of dusty rose. "Now," she whispered, spinning the mirror toward me. "Say hi." I stared at the girl in the mirror. She looked elegant.
Soft. Polished.
She looked like a woman who had always existed, just beneath the surface. The wig sat perfectly atop my styled hair, its soft waves framing my face like it belonged there. The blush on my cheeks gave me warmth. The lipstick pulled everything together. My jaw slackened slightly as I leaned closer. Emma stood behind me, hands on my shoulders. "You're beautiful," she whispered. I wanted to argue. I wanted to say this wasn't real. But all I could do was whisper back. "She looks like me." Emma brought out a dress next, one I hadn't seen before. Deep burgundy, with a fitted waist and soft ruffled sleeves. It looked expensive, feminine, powerful. "I bought this last month," she said casually, "in your size." I turned to her, stunned. "You bought it for me?" She shrugged with a smirk. I had a feeling. My hands shook as I took it from her and stepped into it. The zipper slid up my back with ease. It hugged me perfectly, like it had been made for my body, not just my measurements. I stepped back toward the mirror. A stranger didn't look back.
I did.
And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. I was thrilled. And then came the sound that shattered it all. A knock at the door. Both Emma and I froze. It wasn't gentle. 3 sharp, loud knocks. Emma's eyes widened. "Stay here," she whispered, darting out of the room. I stood there, frozen in heels, dress, full makeup. My breath was locked in my throat. From the hallway, I heard voices.
A man.
"Hey, just wanted to drop this off. I think it's your package." It was Jake, our neighbor. I turned toward the vanity in full panic. My wig.
The dress.
The makeup. It was all too much. Too obvious. The panic was a wave crashing over me, pulling me under. But then Emma's voice again. Thanks, Jake.
Appreciate it.
Hope the move-in's going okay. The door shut. Silence. Emma returned, holding a small box and a raised eyebrow. You okay? I nodded too quickly. She smiled. You were about to bolt under the bed, weren't you? I laughed, breathless. Maybe. She set the box down. It's okay. It's natural to panic the first time. But I won't let anyone see you unless you're ready. Promise. My heart finally began to slow. She stepped closer, tilting my chin up gently. But now you know the feeling, don't you? That rush. I nodded again, slower this time. Because she was right. Being seen like this, just the possibility of being discovered, was terrifying. And exhilarating. The rest of the day passed in a dream. Emma took photos. We played with accessories. She helped me walk in heels. I changed outfits twice. We laughed, we kissed, we cried. It felt like she wasn't just accepting this part of me, she was celebrating it. And somehow I was too. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stood once again in front of the mirror. No makeup now. Wig off. Just me. But not quite the same me as before. She was still there. Beneath the surface. Waiting. And I couldn't stop thinking about how good it felt to let her out. And how much more Emma might be hiding. I tried everything to maintain my distance. After the kiss with Ria at the bar, I'd avoided her messages, her calls, even skipped our weekly video meetings. I was terrified. Not of her, but of the way I felt. The way my heart had fluttered. The way her hand in mine had felt natural. That kiss had flipped a switch in me, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. The worst part? I was still wearing the wig. Still keeping my nails polished, my brows shaped. I told myself it was because I didn't want to arouse suspicion if someone from her circle saw me. But in truth, it had started feeling comfortable.
Calming.
Like this new version of me, Mira, had stopped being a disguise and started becoming something real. Even when I stripped off the clothes and went back to my normal self, I felt incomplete.
Hollow.
Then, one afternoon, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it, and there she was.
Ria.
In a tight red crop top and high-waisted jeans. Confident. Smiling. Holding a garment bag. I figured if you weren't going to come to me, she said, brushing past me, I'd come to you. Ria, wait. You can't be here. She turned, hands on her hips. You've been avoiding me. Running.
Why?
I looked away. I'm confused.
She softened.
So am I. We sat on the couch. I told her everything. How it started as a joke. How it escalated. How I couldn't stop the feelings once they started to bloom. I don't know who I am anymore. I admitted, my voice shaking. She placed her hand on mine. I think I know who you are. Or at least who you could be if you let yourself. She stood, lifted the garment bag, and unzipped it. Inside was a stunning maroon dress, silk, sleeveless, elegant. And I brought something for night, she said with a sly smile. There's an invite-only gala for my brand. A lot of eyes will be there. But I want you beside me. I stared at the dress like it was a weapon. You want me to go like this? As Mira? She nodded. I don't think I can, I whispered. She came closer. I'll help you. An hour later, Ria had transformed the living room into a prep studio. Curling irons, makeup kits, perfumes, and accessories were spread across the floor. I stood in the center, robe tied tight, trying to calm my nerves. She styled my hair first, then applied makeup with slow, loving attention to detail. You have amazing cheekbones, she whispered as she blended the highlighter. I envy you. I smiled despite myself. Then came the dress. Tight at the waist, flowing at the hips. The fabric kissed my skin like it belonged there. As Ria zipped me up, her hands lingered on my back. When I finally turned to the mirror, I gasped. I didn't see a man in a wig. I saw a woman. Graceful. Radiant. Elegant. I saw Mira. The gala was held at a rooftop venue, bathed in golden lighting and filled with the scent of jasmine and champagne. As we walked in together, all eyes turned to us.
To me.
And, for the first time, I didn't panic. I straightened my spine, clutched Ria's hand tighter, and walked like I belonged. People complimented my dress, my hair, my laugh. They saw Mira. Not a disguise. Not a joke. Just me. Later that night, after the applause and speeches, Ria led me onto the dance floor. The music was slow, dreamy. She placed her hand on my waist. "You've been incredible tonight." I looked into her eyes. "Only because you believed I could be." She leaned in, closer than ever before, and whispered, "You're not pretending anymore, are you?" I froze. Because no, I wasn't. Not tonight. Not with her. Not anymore. And then, I kissed her. This time I kissed her. And she kissed me back like I was the only person in the world. Because maybe, just maybe, I was. Josh stared into the mirror, and for the first time, he didn't recognize the boy beneath the makeup. His cheeks were softly contoured, his lips plumped with a glossy peach finish, and his lashes fluttered delicately over widened, unsure eyes. The earrings dangled just right, and the silky robe hugging his body whispered secrets of femininity he never meant to learn. But Sarah was behind him, fixing his hair like it was the most natural thing in the world. "There," she smiled, securing the last pin. "You're almost ready." Josh swallowed. "Ready for what?" Sarah chuckled. "To meet my friends. They think you're my cousin from out of town. A little shy, a little sweet. Totally new to all this." His heart pounded. "Sarah, I thought this was just between us. Just practice." Her fingers rested on his shoulders, gentle but firm. "It was. But you're getting so good at it. Honestly, I don't even need to correct your voice anymore." He tried to protest, but then remembered how earlier that day, his voice had slipped into a slightly higher register automatically when he asked for coffee. The barista hadn't blinked, had even called him Miss. Sarah turned him toward the full-length mirror. "Look at you, Josh. You're not pretending anymore. You're becoming her. And you're better at it than you know." Josh wanted to argue, but the truth was he had been practicing. Alone, secretly, obsessively. Watching makeup tutorials. Trying on the clothes Sarah left behind on purpose. Rehearsing how to walk without thinking. He'd even found himself responding to Jess when Sarah used it casually. "Still going out? Meeting her friends?" "I don't know," he said weakly. Sarah crossed her arms. "You promised you'd trust me. One night. If you hate it, we'll stop everything." He hesitated. His reflection didn't look scared. It looked curious. Even excited. "Okay," he whispered. Sarah's friends were loud, confident, glamorous. Jess, no. Josh stood awkwardly near the kitchen counter, clutching a mocktail in manicured fingers. Every step in the strappy heels was calculated. Every laugh, every smile, every glance rehearsed. But none of them suspected a thing. "You're so pretty," one of the girls said. "I love your vibe. Super soft girl." Jess blushed. "Thanks," she said softly. Sarah beamed from across the room. As the crowd thinned, Sarah pulled Jess into the bathroom. She was glowing. "You were amazing tonight. Did you hear what they said? You fit in perfectly." Jess leaned against the sink. "I don't know what's happening to me." Sarah stepped closer. "What's happening is you're finally letting go. Of the fear. Of pretending. Of resisting." Her fingers slid into Jess's wig, no, hair, and adjusted a stray strand. "Maybe I never wanted to be a girl," Jess said, voice trembling. "But now, I'm scared of who I'm becoming." Sarah smiled softly. "Don't be. You're becoming her. And she's beautiful." Jess blinked. "You mean, Jess?" Sarah held her gaze.
"Yes, Jess.
"And she's already here. You just haven't accepted it yet." Josh, no, Jess, woke up in Sarah's guest room. Last night's dress still hung on the back of the chair. The makeup had smudged slightly, and her hair was a mess. But when she looked at her reflection in the mirror, she didn't want to wipe it off. She didn't want to take the wig off. She didn't want to be Josh again. She just sat there, trembling, as her fingers traced the name tag Sarah had slipped into her bag the night before. It read, Jessica. Intern. Bloom Marketing. I had never felt this cornered in my life. Every instinct screamed at me to stop, to pull the wig off, wipe away the gloss, and tell her the truth. That it was all just a joke. A weird, one-time dare. But standing there in that floral dress, stockings hugging my legs, and Delilah looking at me like I belonged next to her, I froze. Her eyes scanned me slowly, not like she was mocking, but like she was memorizing me. You're gorgeous, she whispered, brushing a strand of the wig behind my ear. But this isn't just about looks, is it? I swallowed hard. What do you mean? I've been watching you, she said, stepping closer. And I don't mean in a creepy way. I mean, this version of you, her. It's like you've finally stopped pretending. I wanted to deny it. Wanted to say no, that's not me, but even my voice wouldn't rise. Because deep down, she was right. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed constantly. Delilah had posted one photo from our dinner. Just one. Me holding her hand. Both of us laughing. And yet, the internet exploded. My inbox flooded. People asking who the new girl was. Boys flirting. Girls complimenting my makeup. Some even calling us goals. I had never felt so seen. And not as my old self, but as her. As Elle. The name Delilah had casually dropped during dinner, and one I hadn't corrected. In that moment, it just fit. The next morning, she texted me.
Elle.
Come over. I have something for you. I hesitated. I was supposed to meet my guys that afternoon. Watch the game. Grab burgers. But I found myself slipping into skinny jeans, a soft blush sweater, and applying just a hint of mascara before I even realized what I was doing. Delilah opened the door with a smirk. I knew you'd come. She had laid out several outfits on her bed, each more feminine than the last. Try them. All of them. And then we're going out again. I stared at the silky blouses, the pleated skirts, the strappy heels. Delilah, I don't think. You don't have to think, she cut in gently. Just feel. You're not pretending anymore, Elle. You are this. I didn't argue. I couldn't. Because the more I stepped into her world, the more it felt like I belonged there.
We went shopping that day.
And not in disguise. Not hiding in fear. Delilah walked with me like I was hers. She called me babe in public. Wrapped her arm around my waist. And when one guy at the food court gave me a once-over and smirked, Delilah turned, protective fire in her eyes. Eyes off my girl. That word. Girl. My heart pounded. Not in fear, but excitement. I was no longer a guy in a wig. I was being treated as her girlfriend. And I loved it. But things took a wild turn that night. We returned to her apartment, and she handed me a sleek box. Open it. Inside was a velvet choker, soft pink with a tiny gold heart. I blinked. What's this? She stepped close, brushing my hair aside. This seals the deal. I stared at her.
She smiled knowingly.
If you wear it, it means you're mine. Officially. Everything inside me should have said no. I wasn't ready. I wasn't sure. But my fingers trembled as I lifted the choker and fastened it around my neck. Delilah's eyes gleamed. Good girl. Then she kissed me. Soft, slow, with a confidence that said she had known this would happen all along. Later, curled beside her, I whispered, what if people find out? What if they know I used to be someone else? She looked at me with such clarity. You're Elle now. Let them talk. But my friends, my family, she silenced me with a finger. You get to choose your truth. Not them. The next week flew by in a blur. Photo shoots.
Dates.
Even a couple's yoga class. And every time she introduced me as her girlfriend, I felt proud. Terrified, yes. But also alive. She never forced anything. But her influence was like gravity, gentle, irresistible, constant. By Friday, my voice had softened.
My posture changed.
Even the way I walked, hips swaying slightly, felt natural. But things were about to get complicated. Because that night, my best friend Liam showed up unexpectedly at Delilah's apartment, and I answered the door, fully dressed as Elle. Skater skirt, fitted top, lip gloss glistening. His eyes went wide. Wah. Wait, bro. I froze. Delilah appeared behind me, wrapping an arm around my waist. Who's this, babe? Liam stared at me. Babe? What the hell is going on here? My throat dried up.
Panic clutched my chest.
But Delilah didn't back down. She's my girlfriend, she said plainly. Is there a problem? Liam looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Is this a prank? Dude, what the hell? Delilah's tone turned icy. She's not a dude. And this isn't a prank. Liam turned back to me. Tell me this isn't real. I stood there, heart racing, tears stinging my eyes. Delilah squeezed my hand, her warmth grounding me. I took a breath. And for the first time, I didn't flinch. This is who I am now, Liam. When I opened the door that evening, I half expected Zoe to cancel again. But there she was, stunning in a sleek wine-colored dress, heels clicking against the hallway floor, her lipstick a perfect match to the dress. She smiled when she saw me, and I swear it almost knocked the breath out of me. You clean up better than I thought, she teased, eyeing me from head to toe. I was wearing a short, silky black dress she had picked out earlier in the week. My wig was styled into soft waves, and the subtle makeup gave me a look that screamed effortless beauty. I still felt a little nervous stepping out like this, but Zoe's approval gave me strength. Ready? She asked. I nodded. We took a cab to an upscale restaurant on the other side of the city. The lighting was low, the place filled with soft jazz and clinking glasses. The host greeted Zoe warmly, clearly recognizing her. When he glanced at me, he paused for a second, but then smiled and gestured us to a candlelit table by the window. Zoe leaned in once we were seated. Here's the thing, she whispered. Tonight, you're not a boy in a dress. You're my date. You're my girlfriend. And we're just two women enjoying a lovely evening. I froze.
Date?
She saw the panic flicker in my eyes and laughed softly. Relax. Just follow my lead. Over appetizers, she told stories about her modeling shoots, some hilarious, some borderline insane. I laughed, easing into the role. When the waiter returned, he addressed me as ma'am, without hesitation. Something about that made my stomach flutter. You're blending in beautifully, Zoe whispered. I smiled. Thanks to you. She raised an eyebrow.
No.
You're doing it. You're not pretending anymore. You're becoming her. By the time dessert came, I was laughing with her like we'd known each other forever. We shared a chocolate mousse, and as Zoe fed me a spoonful across the table, something shifted. The way she looked at me, it wasn't teasing anymore. It was something deeper. Admiring. Almost proud. Do you ever think, she asked, maybe this version of you was always waiting to come out? I opened my mouth, but nothing came. That question hit too hard. Back at her apartment, we stood at the door, lingering in silence. Then, unexpectedly, she reached forward and tucked a loose strand of my hair behind my ear. You're beautiful, she said softly. I could feel my heart pounding. My voice came out quieter than I expected. I wouldn't have believed that a week ago. Well, she smiled. Believe it now. I turned to go, but she stopped me.
Wait.
One more thing. She handed me a small gift bag. Inside was a dainty gold necklace with a charm that read, Z. Wear it tomorrow, she said. It's yours. That night, lying in bed, I stared at the necklace in my hand. Something inside me had shifted permanently. I wasn't just pretending anymore. I wasn't acting. This wasn't just Zoe's fantasy. This was becoming my reality. And I liked it.
No.
I loved it. I hadn't expected a simple invitation to hang out with Maya's friends to feel like a test, but that's exactly what it became. When she asked, "Want to come with me to the girls' night at Lila's?" I felt my breath catch. These weren't strangers. These were the girls I used to know from school, some of whom had known me as Zane. But Maya just smiled at my hesitation. You'll be fine. You look beautiful. Just be my girlfriend. Be Zara tonight. And I did. I walked into that living room in a pink ruche top, snug jeans that showed every curve, a soft cardigan, and Maya's perfume on my neck. The moment was surreal. They all turned, and Lila was the first to break the silence. "Damn, Maya," she teased. "You never said your girl was this pretty." I blinked. Lila didn't recognize me. Not even a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Neither did the others. It felt like I had stepped through a portal. We played games, drank wine coolers,
Laughed.
I shared stories. I copied Maya's posture, her vocal patterns, her casual hair flips. At one point, someone even asked, "So, Zara, how did you and Maya meet?" Maya answered before I could panic. She was doing a trial shift at my mom's salon. We flirted. I stole her number. They all cooed. And just like that, my new identity gained its own mythology. That night, Maya and I walked home under the stars, her hand in mine. We stopped by the park, where I finally let out a shaky breath. "I thought I'd mess everything up," I admitted. Maya looked at me with a soft kind of pride. "You didn't. You charmed everyone. You are Zara. More than you think." And then, for the first time, she kissed me. It wasn't playful or teasing like before. It was real. Long, slow. Her hand on my cheek. My heart thundering in my chest. And something shifted inside me. The next day, I woke up to a message. "Lila, hey girl, wanna come with us to the pop-up market Saturday?"
Girls' day out.
That's when it really hit me. They didn't just tolerate Zara. They liked her, wanted her around. And somehow, despite everything, so did I. Over the next week, the transformation wasn't just about clothes or makeup. It was about behaviors. How I walked, how I sat, how I laughed. I started keeping my knees together when I sat. I tilted my head when I listened. I giggled at texts. Without thinking, I had become her full-time. And Maya noticed. "Are you doing this for me?" she asked one night as she curled beside me on the couch. I hesitated, then said softly, "At first?"
Yes. But now.
"I don't know. It feels like me. Not all of it, but enough of it to be real." She reached over and took my hand. "I don't care if it started as fun. I like you like this. I like us." That weekend, the girls' trip was a blur of makeup counters, iced lattes, and high-pitched laughter. They helped me try on a sundress, and when I looked in the mirror, I saw Zara. Not sane in a dress, but Zara confident, glowing, soft. And when I stepped out, the compliments were instant. "OMG, you have to get that one. Maya's gonna drool." "She already does." I joked and blushed when I realized how naturally that had come out. Later that night, while changing out of that same dress, I caught a glimpse of myself in Maya's full-length mirror. I touched the side of my face, then my waist. My hair had grown out just enough to blend into the wig. The waist training had started to shape me. Hormones? No, at least I didn't think so. But Maya had been feeding me these new herbal supplements. I paused. Had I really not questioned them? Then Maya knocked. "Zara? You okay?" "Yeah," I said automatically, but my voice cracked slightly. "Want help with your lashes?" I turned to her. She was already walking in with the lash curler in hand. And as I sat down in front of her, letting her press the wand to my lashes like it was the most normal thing in the world, I realized this had gone beyond a joke. I was living as a girl, loved as one, seen as one, and most dangerously, I was beginning to want it. The next morning, everything changed. I woke up to the smell of perfume, soft satin sheets hugging my body, and sunlight streaming through gauzy curtains. But it wasn't the smell or the setting that caught me off guard. It was the mirror. I sat up slowly and saw myself across the room. Long, glossy brunette hair splayed across my pillow, skin glowing, lips slightly tinted with pink gloss. I blinked. My reflection blinked back. It wasn't a costume anymore. The wig was gone. The lashes were real. Even my cheekbones looked different, softer, higher. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no. What the hell did she do?" Suddenly, I noticed the note on the nightstand. In her handwriting. "Hey babe, you've been asleep for 2 days. Don't panic. The serum worked faster than we expected. I had to keep you sedated until the transformation stabilized. Trust me, you're perfect now. There's no going back, by the way. Your DNA has been rewritten. Completely. Welcome to your new life. Emily. I froze. I couldn't feel my Adam's apple. My hands small, delicate. I threw off the covers. A soft pink satin nightgown fell over two full, perky breasts. My waist curved inward, hips wide beneath the gown. My thighs touched, soft and smooth. I screamed. No sound came out. I ran to the mirror, pressed my fingers to my face, mouth, chest, legs, everywhere. Everything was real. Too real. This wasn't some prank or prank makeup. This was me. Emily walked in, humming. Morning, baby girl, she cooed, carrying a tray of breakfast, strawberries, toast, and a pink smoothie. What did you do to me? I gasped, voice high and breathy. What the hell did you inject into me? She put the tray down and sat beside me. Shh, don't panic. You're safe. I'm not safe, I shrieked. You drugged me. You changed my body. I perfected you, she corrected calmly. You were the prototype. You agreed to it, remember the contract? I stared at her in disbelief. I thought it was temporary. A joke. For your dumb fashion campaign. Emily just smiled and ran a hand down my arm. You're beautiful, aren't you? You think that was by accident?
No.
You were always meant to be like this. I just nudged nature. I want my body back, I shouted. Emily stood. There is no back. Look at you. Do you really want to give this up? She pulled out a phone and played a video.
It was me. But not me.
It was her version of me, walking confidently down a fashion runway, heels clicking, crowd roaring. I wore a sparkling mini dress, face glowing with makeup, eyes playful. I looked flawless. Where did you get this? I whispered. I filmed it last night. Don't you remember?
You were sleepwalking.
The subconscious personality is already adapting. Soon, you won't even want to be a boy. Tears welled up in my eyes. You're sick. No, she said with a twisted grin. I'm visionary. She tossed me a phone. It was already logged into social media. My name was changed. New account. New identity. Meet Aria. My muse. My girlfriend. My everything. Thousands of likes. Comments. Shares. They all thought I was a real girl. Her new love. I scrolled in horror. Photos of me modeling, laughing, putting on lipstick, getting dressed. Some seductive, some adorable. None of them the boy I used to be. I looked up at her. Why? Emily knelt beside me. Because I loved you. And I saw potential in you. The world doesn't need another boring guy.
But you?
Your art. I stared at my reflection. You took away my life. No, she whispered. I gave you a better one. And then she kissed me. I froze, shocked at how my lips responded, how my body shivered, how natural it felt. My mind screamed, but my body melted. I hate you, I whispered. She smiled. That's okay. You'll love me later. The phone buzzed with a message from Jasmine. Wear the wig. Come as her. We need to talk seriously. For a moment, I just stared at it.
My palms were sweaty.
I had been slowly falling into this double life, and now Jasmine was inviting her, not me. The girl version. The character I only meant to play for fun, but who had taken on a life of her own. I hesitated. My reflection stared back at me, still half transformed. The makeup was done. The lips soft and glossy. The wig lay beside the vanity, waiting like a crown. I picked it up slowly, almost reverently, and slid it on. There she was. That girl in the mirror.
Pretty. Flirty.
A bit unsure, but magnetic in her own weird way. My shoulders naturally tilted into a more feminine posture. My voice, when I whispered, "Are we really doing this?" came out breathier, softer. Something in me clicked. Jasmine had arranged a private dinner on her rooftop. Candles flickered under the early night sky. She turned the moment she saw me, eyes scanning every detail. "You really came," she said, smiling, but it wasn't playful anymore. It was something else. Did I have a choice? I said nervously, trying to sound cool. She walked up slowly, heels clicking, her red dress flowing behind her. You always have a choice. But you chose her. Again. And again. I didn't have a response to that. Because she was right.
We sat down.
The food was untouched. The conversation twisted quickly. I know you think this is pretend. That this is just some phase. A little dare. But have you looked at yourself lately? Jasmine said, her voice low. I blinked. I'm still me.
Are you? She asked.
Because the way you smile when you're her, the way you walk, the way you laugh, it's different. It's honest. I looked away. This was just supposed to be fun. Her eyes softened. Maybe it was. But it's not anymore. Not for me. And not for you either. After dinner, she reached out and held my hand. I need to ask you something, and I want a real answer. I nodded, heart pounding. If this isn't real, then why did you kiss me back last week? I froze. I had told myself that kiss meant nothing, that it was in the moment. But it wasn't. I remembered it too clearly. The way her lips had tasted like wine and strawberries. The way she had looked at me like I was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. I started to speak. She touched my cheek. Don't say it wasn't real. Please. I looked at her, and I couldn't lie. It was real, I whispered. And terrifying. Later that night, she helped me take off the wig. But gently. Slowly. Like unwrapping something precious. I don't want the boy version of you, she said, almost whispering. I want her. The one who's not afraid to feel. To be soft. To be beautiful. I stared into her eyes, my heart pounding. You want me to stay like this?
No, she said.
I want you to choose to stay like this. For the first time, it felt less like a trap and more like a door. A door I could walk through. A door that led somewhere I didn't fully understand yet, but I wanted to. And so, in the dark of the night, I looked down at the wig and picked it up again. Not for fun, but because maybe, just maybe, I was finally becoming her. And I didn't want to stop. The night that followed was surreal. After our dramatic exit from the mall, Delilah didn't take me home. Instead, she drove us to a fancy upscale apartment complex on the other side of town. We entered a penthouse with glass walls, polished floors, velvet cushions, and a glowing cityscape view. It felt like I had stepped into a fashion magazine, or maybe the life of someone completely new. This is your safe house, Delilah announced. My what? She handed me a key. You're staying here from now on. Your old life? You'll go back only if you choose to. Until then, you're Zoe. Fully. Publicly. I stared at her, unsure if I was scared or thrilled. Maybe both. She opened a wardrobe full of new clothes. Dresses.
Heels. Wigs.
Lingerie. Makeup drawers more loaded than a Sephora shelf. This is too much, I whispered. Delilah stepped closer, her hand resting gently on my cheek. I saw the way you looked at yourself in the mirror today. You loved it. Don't lie.
I didn't reply.
My silence said it all.
She leaned in.
I need you to do something tomorrow. Something bold. But if you do it, there's no going back. What is it? She smiled like a queen planning her final checkmate. You're going to walk a runway.
As Zoe.
In my show. My heart slammed in my chest.
No.
I can't. She shushed me. You're perfect for it. You've got the body, the walk, the face. I'll train you tonight. You'll debut as my surprise model. But I'm not a model. She leaned even closer. You are now. The next 12 hours were brutal, but magical. Delilah put me in towering stilettos and made me practice my walk again and again across her marble floors. She corrected my posture. My arm swing. My hip motion. She taught me poses, looks, head tilts, everything. Then came makeup. She showed me how to contour my cheeks, highlight my eyes, create glossy lips that sparkled under lights. She styled 3 different wigs on me, eventually settling on a long, honey blonde look with gentle curls that framed my now softened face perfectly. "You're breathtaking," she said. I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. My eyes welled up. "Why are you doing this for me?" I asked. She looked at me for a long moment. "Because I see the girl you're afraid to admit is already here." The next day, everything happened fast. Delilah's fashion show was part of a big local fashion week. Her brand had been selected as the finale act. It was a bold, sexy, empowering collection titled Feminine Power Reborn. Her designs were sharp, glittering, tailored to slay. I was her closing model. Backstage, I sat in a robe, shaking, surrounded by tall, stunning women who all assumed I was just another girl on the rise. No one questioned me. They complimented my cheekbones, my walk, my confidence, if only they knew how scared I really was. Then came the moment. I stood at the curtain, my heels trembling. Delilah took my hand. "You can do this. Trust me." The music dropped. Lights flared. The curtain pulled back, and I stepped onto the runway. I don't know what happened out there. It was like I left my body, or entered a new one. The spotlight hit me, and the audience gasped. Not because they knew me, but because I looked fierce, beautiful, commanding. I walked slow and smooth, hips swaying, eyes locked forward, just as Delilah taught me. Cameras flashed. People whispered. When I reached the end of the runway, I struck the pose, one leg forward, hand on my hip, chin tilted, and then spun around with a flick of my hair. The applause started quietly and then grew. Thunderous. Backstage, Delilah was crying. "You did it," she whispered, hugging me tight. "Zoe, you're free now." But I wasn't ready for what came next. Because one of the reporters backstage, she recognized me. Or rather, she recognized who I used to be. "Wait," she said. "Aren't you?" Delilah stepped in fast, smiling like a pro. "This is Zoe, my new top model. You'll be seeing a lot more of her." The reporter hesitated, then smiled back.
Well,
"She's got something." But as the cameras followed me and the post-show party began, I felt the crack forming beneath the surface. Because this beautiful world was built on a secret I couldn't hide forever. And someone was already starting to dig. The sun rose with a softness that felt almost cruel. I had just finished another night locked in a pink silk nightgown, sleeping in a room that smelled of floral perfume and makeup remover. I blinked slowly, watching the golden light reflect off the rhinestones on my vanity mirror. "This isn't a phase anymore," I whispered to myself. Sophia had declared the day before that she wanted to test my poise in public. I assumed it would be something small like walking through the neighborhood or maybe a trip to a secluded store.
but no.
She had something far more dramatic planned. "Today," she said that morning, her arms crossed and a spark in her eye, "you're coming to the influencer brunch. As my girlfriend." I nearly choked on my herbal tea. "You can't be serious." Sophia leaned in and applied a layer of pink gloss on my lips. "I'm deadly serious. You've passed every private test. It's time the world sees her." By noon, I was cinched into a white floral satin dress, the skirt flaring softly around my thighs. Sophia had curled my hair into bouncing waves and applied a flawless, dewy glam look. I wore pearl earrings and white heels that added a certain innocent elegance to the illusion. We drove across the city to a rooftop garden cafe, swarming with cameras, influencers, and Instagrammable setups. I was terrified. "You're not just acting," she whispered. "You are her now. Feel it." My heels clicked on the tiled floor as we walked in. Conversations turned. Phones lifted. People began whispering to each other. But it wasn't laughter. It wasn't mockery. It was admiration. One of the influencers, a gorgeous woman in neon green, turned to Sophia with a playful smirk. "New girlfriend?" she asked. Sophia placed a delicate hand on the small of my back. "This is Emily, my gorgeous little discovery." I forced a smile. My voice caught in my throat, but I remembered the voice lessons. "Hi," I said, my tone light and breathy, my hands instinctively playing with the ends of my curls. To my shock, the other woman nodded approvingly. "Cute. Very cottagecore. She suits your brand." And just like that, I was in. Hours passed in a blur of clinking glasses, laughter, and photo ops. Sophia made me pose beside her under a floral arch. The two of us locked hand in hand, her cheek pressed against mine. "You're trending," she said after uploading it. #dreamcouple. I couldn't process it. The world was falling for the lie. Or was it even a lie anymore? When I excused myself and looked at my reflection in the restroom mirror, I saw someone else completely. Long lashes, sculpted brows, soft contour. I looked like I belonged here. But I didn't. I grabbed the edge of the sink and stared at myself. Who am I? Back at Sophia's apartment that night, I asked her the question I had been avoiding. What happens if I want to stop? What if I don't want to be Emily anymore? Sophia turned slowly, her smile fading. I thought you were happy. I don't know what I am. I can't even remember who I was before. She grabbed my hands. You were insecure. Hiding. You didn't even like yourself. But now look at you. I stayed silent. I know it's been overwhelming, she continued. But you're not trapped, okay? You're becoming. And the world, they love this version of you. I sat on the couch in silence after she left the room. I had a phone full of notifications from people calling me beautiful. I had a closet full of dresses tailored for me. And I had a name, Emily, that was no longer foreign. It felt comfortable. But was this comfort or surrender? That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked into Sophia's walk-in closet and stood in front of the full-length mirror. I removed everything, wig, lashes, padding. Bit by bit, I stripped Emily away. When I was done, I looked at the person I had once been, and I felt hollow. Suddenly, Sophia appeared behind me. She stood quietly for a moment before speaking. You thought taking it all off would make you feel like him again, didn't you? I nodded. Did it work?
No.
She stepped closer, placing her hands on my shoulders. You don't need to choose today, but you do need to be honest with yourself. Because whoever you decide to be, she deserves your truth. I didn't cry. Not then. But something cracked inside me. Something old, something heavy fell away. And something new began to rise. I was staring at myself in the full-length mirror, in the very same boutique where it had all started. The girl looking back at me wasn't pretending anymore. Her posture was natural, her smile wasn't forced, and her eyes looked like they had finally accepted the truth. Maya walked up behind me, placing her hands gently on my shoulders. You're glowing, Anya, she whispered.
Anya.
She didn't say it like it was a joke anymore. She said it like it was who I was. I looked down at the soft pink dress that hugged my body in all the right ways, the heels I wore like I was born in them, and the subtle shimmer of lip gloss that caught the boutique's lights. You've made me into her, I murmured. No, Maya corrected gently. You were always her. I just helped you meet her. The final photo shoot was scheduled that evening. It wasn't just for Maya's campaign, it was the grand reveal. Everything was set up, a runway-style set, glowing lights, professional cameras, influencers invited to attend. I was supposed to walk that ramp. As her. As Anya. In the green room, I sat in silence, the sound of stylists prepping models, the click of heels, the murmur of excitement. It all buzzed around me, but I was somewhere else. I thought about the first time I wore that stupid wig. How I'd laughed at myself in the mirror. How clueless I was.
And now?
I wasn't wearing a wig. I wasn't pretending. I was living it. Suddenly, Maya peeked in. It's time, she said, her voice calm but emotional. I stood up. My gown sparkled, a champagne gold piece that flowed like liquid sunlight. The heels clicked against the floor, and I walked with grace that no one had taught me. I had absorbed it, owned it. As I reached the entrance to the stage, the music started. A soft, rising melody. People clapped as the first model walked. Then it was my turn. Deep breath. And then I stepped into the light. Everything stopped. The audience went silent for a second, stunned. I heard gasps. I saw phones go up. I walked slowly, gracefully, each step deliberate. The lights flashed, cameras clicked, but I didn't falter. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was her. Anya. Beautiful. Confident. Feminine. When I reached the end of the ramp, I struck a pose, hand on hip, chin slightly lifted just like Maya had shown me, and I heard the applause erupt. The room cheered. Some even whistled. I smiled. Not the old, awkward smile I used when I was pretending. This was a real one. Backstage, Maya was crying. Happy tears. "You were perfect," she said, hugging me. I should have felt embarrassed. A man turned woman. Tricked, transformed, and now adored. But I wasn't embarrassed. I was free. That night, Maya posted the final reel on Instagram. From prank to perfection. Meet Anya, my muse, my girlfriend, and the star of my brand. The comments exploded. "She's gorgeous. I thought it was a joke. Now she looks better than real models. Maya, where did you find her? Wait, that was a guy? No way." I turned off my phone, because none of that mattered anymore. Later that night, we sat on the rooftop. Maya had brought a bottle of wine, and we sipped under the stars. "You okay?" she asked. I looked at her, then down at the dress I still hadn't taken off. "Yeah," I said softly. I think I'm more than okay." She leaned in, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "You've changed, but in the best way." I laughed lightly. "Funny. I wore a wig for fun, and now I'm your girlfriend." She smiled. "And my star." And there, under the open sky, with the city glowing around us and my heart full of something I couldn't describe, I realized I didn't want to go back. Not ever. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror anymore. Not just because of the soft curls resting gently on my shoulders or the warm gleam in my eyes behind the expertly done mascara. It was the way I stood. The way I looked at myself. The way my heart fluttered when Ava's name popped up on my phone. "My beautiful girlfriend is running late," her message read. "Wait for me in the red dress." I should have panicked. I should have thrown the dress out the window, scrubbed the makeup off, and texted her to stop this madness. But I didn't. I walked slowly to the closet, pulled out the silky red dress she'd picked, and slipped it on like it was always mine. I zipped it up. My figure fit it perfectly now. The subtle padding, the corset training, the weeks of adjustments and Ava's gentle guidance had shaped me. I was no longer a guy pretending. I was her girlfriend. When Ava finally arrived, she stared at me for a long moment in stunned silence. Then she smiled like I'd just handed her the moon. "You're perfect," she whispered. I blushed. It felt real. Too real. And yet, I loved how her eyes lingered on my lips, the way she instinctively reached to adjust my bracelet. How her arm slipped around my waist like it belonged there. She took me to the rooftop restaurant we used to visit as friends. This time, though, everything was different. She opened doors for me, ordered for me, reached across the table and held my hand like we'd always been together. "Tell me, baby," she said softly, "is this still just for fun?" I swallowed. Every cell in my body screamed the truth. But still, I hesitated. "Maybe," I said, eyes dropping to the tablecloth. "Maybe not." She leaned in. Would it be so bad if it wasn't? As we stepped out of the restaurant, Ava turned to me under the stars. The city lights cast a glow on her face. Her hand cupped my cheek. "I've wanted to do this since the moment you put that wig on," she whispered. And then she kissed me. It wasn't a quick kiss. It was slow. Deep. Melting. I could feel everything I'd buried. Every doubt, every moment of panic, every second of wondering why I felt so right like this, rising to the surface. When she pulled back, she was smiling. But I was trembling. "I don't know who I am anymore," I whispered, almost in tears. "Yes, you do," she said. "You're mine." The next morning, she brought out a small velvet box. I froze. Ava, what? She opened it. It wasn't a ring. It was a pendant. A heart-shaped one. "I had this made for you," she said. "It has your name on it." I stared. On one side, Lexi. On the other, forever hers. Lexi. That was the name she'd teased me with the first time she did my makeup. It was the name her friends had started calling me. It was the name that had gone from a joke, to a label, to something that felt like mine. I took the necklace and held it to my chest. She clipped it around my neck. You don't have to pretend anymore, Ava said. This is real. You're real. And you're mine. It's been 6 months. I still remember the guy who wore a wig for fun. He was awkward, scared, lost, playing a game he didn't understand.
Now?
I'm Lexi. My wardrobe is full of dresses, heels, and matching lingerie sets. Ava's hand is always in mine. Her friends call me babe and cutie, without hesitation. And when I walk past the mirror, I see someone confident, beautiful, and deeply in love. I wore a wig for fun, but now I'm hers. And I don't want to be anything else. I stood on the rooftop of the resort, the warm summer wind blowing through my long, styled hair. Downstairs, laughter and music echoed from the pool party, and I could see all of Mia's friends mingling like this was the most natural thing in the world. I leaned on the railing, staring into the stars, trying to collect my thoughts. I had crossed so many boundaries, voluntarily and involuntarily, and what scared me was how little I missed the old me. Behind me, heels clicked gently against the tiles.
Mia.
She came and stood beside me, holding 2 champagne flutes. Her off-shoulder navy dress fluttered slightly in the wind, and the moonlight caught the shimmer on her cheekbones. You disappeared, she said softly. I needed some air, I replied, accepting the glass. Too much attention from your admirers? She teased. I laughed weakly. It's all just strange. I mean, I was just supposed to wear a wig for fun.
Now.
I'm in full makeup, heels, this dress, and everyone thinks I'm your girlfriend.
She leaned in.
Because you are. I looked at her, startled. You're not pretending anymore, Jaime, she continued, her voice firm but not unkind. You're not just playing my girlfriend. You've become her. I opened my mouth to argue, but she cut me off gently. Tell me this hasn't changed you. Tell me you don't like how it feels when someone compliments your look. Tell me you don't enjoy the softness of these clothes, the power you felt walking through the resort lobby in that red gown. I didn't say I hated it. I admitted. But you didn't expect to like it either, she finished. You were so sure you were straight, that you were only doing this for fun. But fun turned into comfort. Comfort into beauty. And now you're not the same boy I dared into this life. My fingers tightened around the glass. So what am I then? She smiled gently. You're mine. The way she said it wasn't possessive. It was comforting.
Warm.
She set her glass down and reached into her clutch, pulling something out. A necklace. A small silver chain with a heart-shaped pendant. I had this made, she said. I was waiting to give it to you when you realized what we both already knew. She stepped behind me and fastened it around my neck. As the cool metal touched my collarbone, something inside me trembled. Finality. Surrender. Maybe even joy. You're beautiful, she whispered. And not just on the outside. You're finally living your truth. This girl, Jaime, or whoever you want to be, is someone I'm proud of. And I love her. My heart caught in my chest. You love her? Mia nodded.
Yes.
I don't want the boy who wore a wig for fun. I want the girl who blossomed from it. And in that moment, as the stars shimmered above us, I realized she wasn't wrong. I had changed. I wasn't pretending anymore. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't even ashamed. I turned to her, tears slipping down my cheeks, but not from sadness. From relief. I love her too, I whispered. And I love you. She kissed me, softly, deeply, and the world melted away. The night before the gala, I stood in front of the vanity, staring at myself in the mirror. My long, silky hair was pinned into elegant curls. My eyes shimmered with smoky eyeshadow. My lips, once cracked and plain, now glowed in glossy rose. I didn't just look like a girl. I looked like a woman, a sophisticated, polished, breathtaking woman. Mom entered the room quietly, her heels clicking on the marble floor. She placed a necklace in front of me. This belonged to my mother, she said softly. It's yours now. I froze. You're serious? She nodded. Tomorrow, you're going to meet people who matter. Big names. fashion investors, powerful women. And I want them to see the daughter I've raised, not the son I lost. Those words hit me like thunder. Was I still someone's son? Or was I now fully hers? The ballroom shimmered under soft golden lights. My heart pounded in my chest as I stepped out of the limo, heels clicking confidently across the red carpet. Cameras flashed. Murmurs spread like wildfire. There she is. That's Veronica Bloom's daughter. The one who bloomed. Every eye followed me. I was wearing a white satin gown with a thigh-high slit. Elegant, flawless, feminine. Inside, Mom stayed by my side at first. She introduced me as Valerie, my new name. People smiled. They praised my beauty, my confidence, the grace with which I spoke. Even when I slipped up saying when I was a kid instead of when I was a little girl, they just chuckled. But I felt like I was drifting. Part of me felt proud. Another part, silent, cold, distant, kept whispering, "This isn't you. This isn't real." Then I saw her.
Chloe.
She stood near the bar, arms folded, lips pressed tight. She'd come. I moved quickly. "Chloe." She turned. "So it's true." "I didn't ask for this," I blurted out. "She made me take something. Valessa Bloom. It did changed everything." "I know what it is," Chloe said, voice shaking. "And I warned you. But you didn't listen. You let her do this to you." My hands trembled. "I didn't let her. It just had happened. And now I don't know who I am anymore." "You're not you," Chloe snapped. "You're a project. Her puppet." "I didn't choose this," I whispered. "But I'm trying to survive it." Tears welled in her eyes. "Then why do you look like you're enjoying it?" That one line pierced through every layer of defense I had. Was I enjoying it? Or had I been changed so deeply I forgot how to resist? Back at home, I broke down. I wiped off the makeup, tore off the wig, even ripped the gown down the middle. "I'm not your doll." I screamed at my mom. "You drugged me.
You used me.
You destroyed me." She stood calm, unshaken. "I gave you a gift. I gave you freedom. Look at you. You were lost before this. Now you have confidence, purpose, beauty. You're everything I dreamed of in a daughter." "I didn't want to be your daughter." "You do now," she said firmly. "You wouldn't have shined the way you did tonight if you didn't." I sobbed harder. "That wasn't me." She stepped closer. "Then who was it?" I had no answer. Because the truth was, I didn't know anymore. That night, I looked in the mirror again. For the first time, I didn't see me versus her. I saw one person. A blend. A confused, broken, but powerful person. Maybe I wasn't the son my mom wanted. Maybe I wasn't the daughter she forced. Maybe I was someone entirely new.
Valerie.
Weeks passed. I stopped fighting. I didn't surrender. I just started breathing. I took the Valessa Bloom by choice now. Small doses. Enough to keep the changes stable, not overwhelming. I went back to school. As a girl. People stared, whispered. But I didn't flinch. "Chloe?" We didn't talk for a while. Until one day, she left a note in my locker. "You were brave. Not for changing, but for surviving. If you ever want a friend again, I'm here." I cried reading it. Mom and I sat in the garden. She handed me a pair of heels. "Your next photo shoot's tomorrow," she said with a smile. "You ready, my perfect girl?" I looked down at the heels. Then at my hands, softer now, with neatly polished nails. I didn't say yes. I just smiled. And slid them on. Because maybe, just maybe, she didn't make me her perfect daughter. Maybe I became her on my own. I couldn't even feel the floor beneath my heels as I followed Ria out the door and into the street. It was like my entire reality had shifted. Not just my reflection, but my identity. We stepped into the waiting car, her fingers slipping naturally into mine. I should have pulled away. I should have said something. But the words died in my throat. Inside the limousine, the lighting was soft and seductive. Ria sat beside me, too close, and leaned in. "You're really pulling this off better than I expected," she whispered, her voice husky. "But we need to talk about something." I blinked. "What?" She turned to face me, all traces of teasing now gone. The brand's viral. Your transformation video is everywhere. People think you're my actual girlfriend. Everyone believes it. Sponsors are lining up.
Models are backing out.
They want you. I froze. Wait, what? Ria showed me her phone. A clip of me trying on the black wig in her apartment, then twirling in her red dress, had millions of views. Ria's new mystery girlfriend revealed screamed the title. The comments were gushing with love for the shy beauty. But they don't know I'm a guy, I stammered. They don't need to. She shrugged. And honestly, I don't think you want them to anymore either. Her words hit harder than I expected. I turned away, watching my reflection in the dark window. That girl, the one with glossy lips, perfect lashes, shimmering earrings, she didn't look like a guy pretending. She looked like me. Just one more event, Ria whispered. One night. Walk with me. Be my girlfriend. Own it. And if you still want to walk away after that, I'll never ask again. The car rolled up to the fashion gala's entrance. Paparazzi were waiting. Flashbulbs exploded. My heart thudded so hard I thought I'd faint. But Ria held my hand tighter. You ready? I hesitated. And then, I nodded. People shouted Ria's name.
But then they saw me.
The cameras swiveled. Reporters leaned in. Is that her? Is that Ria's new girlfriend? She's stunning. I felt like I was walking in a dream. The heels didn't wobble. The dress clung perfectly. The earrings brushed against my neck. And I smiled, a real, radiant smile. I waved. I laughed. I posed. I held Ria's hand like it had always belonged there. Inside the event, industry leaders watched me with stunned admiration. The head of a major cosmetics brand leaned toward Ria. She's fresh. She's magic. She's marketable. I wasn't just passing, I was thriving. When we finally slipped into a quiet corner backstage, Ria turned to me. You did it, she whispered. I don't know how I did it. I breathed. I felt like I had to. Like I couldn't disappoint you. Or them. Or yourself. I looked at her. Swallowed hard. Yeah. She reached up and gently tucked a loose curl behind my ear. Her touch lingered. I never meant for this to go so far, she said quietly. But watching you, I saw something real. Not a joke. Not a prank. I saw you. And I didn't want it to end. The silence between us was electric. And then she kissed me. Not for the cameras. Not for the followers. But for us. And I kissed her back. When the night ended, we walked out hand in hand. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was pretending anymore. I wasn't hiding behind a wig or makeup. I was stepping into who I'd somehow always been afraid to be. As the hotel room echoed with silence, I looked at myself in the tall mirror. No wig. No fake lashes. No pretending anymore. Just me, sitting on the edge of the bed, wearing a slinky champagne-colored silk slip that hung off my shoulders like it was made for me. It was made for me. Jasmine had bought it yesterday, saying it was a gift for my girlfriend. The word had felt dangerous then. Now it felt true. I ran my fingers through my now real, shoulder-length styled hair. No extensions. No illusions. I had accepted the hormones. I had accepted the life. What began as a dare, as a weekend experiment, had become my reality. And somehow I wasn't running away. Jasmine entered from the bathroom, towel wrapped around her chest. Her damp hair framed her perfect face, and when she smiled at me, it wasn't playful. It was proud. You stayed, she said softly. I nodded. I didn't think I would, but I couldn't go back. She stepped closer. Then don't. Be mine. The next few weeks were surreal. I didn't return to my old apartment. I didn't even tell my former roommate where I was. It was easier this way. Jasmine helped me find a new salon to work at, one that catered to women only. I was nervous at first, but being around other girls helped. I picked up on how they walked, laughed, teased, styled their nails. Jasmine told them I was new in town. One day, a girl I worked with, Rachel, turned to me and asked, "What's it like being with someone like Jasmine? I mean, she's intense." I'd smiled and said, yeah. But she saw something in me no one else ever did. And I meant it. The doctor handed me a small card with my new identification. It had my new name. It had F under sex. It felt official. I cried. Jasmine pulled me into her arms right there in the waiting room and whispered, I'm so proud of you. I buried my face in her shoulder and sobbed like a child. That night, we celebrated. She dressed me in her favorite red bodycon dress and heels so tall I almost fell twice. She did my makeup herself, teasing me about how far I'd come since that first messy wig night. We walked into the restaurant, and people turned. No one questioned me. No one stared. I looked like I belonged, because I did. After dinner, we danced under city lights at an outdoor bar. A slow song came on. Jasmine pulled me close. Her arms wrapped around my waist, mine around her neck. Her lips brushed my ear. You know what I love most about you? I looked up. You never gave up on yourself. I smiled. You didn't let me. Weeks turned into months. I got my own wardrobe now. I wasn't borrowing hers anymore. I had my own style. Soft pastels. Tight jeans. Flowy skirts. I even started making beauty content online. Jasmine helped me film. She said, let's show the world how you bloomed. One video blew up. Then another. Soon I was being called an inspiration. Girls messaged me asking how I had the courage. Truth? I didn't. But Jasmine believed in me until I could believe in myself. 6 months later, I stood in front of a mirror. Again. But this time in a white dress. Not a wedding dress. A cocktail one. But Jasmine walked in holding a little box. I know we're not there yet, she grinned. But someday?
She opened it.
Inside was a silver necklace. A pendant with my new initials. She placed it around my neck. Kissed my lips. You'll always be my girl. And I knew. She didn't turn me into her girlfriend. I became her girlfriend because she gave me a chance to be me.